EA have absolutely obliterated the Finesse Shot Plus, which means that we're seeing a huge drop in price on the market for cards with that playstyle. So I'm going to show you exactly how to take advantage of this huge panic and how we can make some profit. Welcome to Trading to Glory. If you're looking to buy cheap and reliable FC24 coins, look no farther than my partner FUTLOOT and use my code ELITE, ELYYT, for an extra 6% at checkout. EA dropped today what they're calling a holiday update where the Finesse and Finesse Plus playstyles aren't going to be as good, slightly. Now, we have no idea what that's going to mean. Maybe it's the exact same and we don't even see a different, or maybe these Finesse Shot Plus are not the meta anymore. And what people are doing are now panicking on these cards. If you take a look at the front page of Futbin, it is filled with cards like Hansen, Informed Sun, Raul, you've got Salah in there, Rafael Leao, etc. All these players who have Finesse Shot Plus are crashing down in price. Heung-min Son, for example, is down to 428,000 coins. Di Natale down to 880,000 coins, and etc. All of them are down in price. And now they are starting to see a little bit of a rebound. This Di Natale was like 865, now it's 880. I could definitely see this card going above 900k again. This Heung-min Son could go back above 450k, but it is risky. I do think that there's a rebound in store, but it really just comes down to the community's consensus. Is this Finesse Shot Plus going to actually kill the meta for finesse shots in this game, or is it going to still be viable? And so that's going to determine these card prices, and that update just went live. So we're going to see how these cards react over the course of the next few hours after this video goes up. But keep an eye on these cards, because if the community kind of decides, well, these cards really aren't bad still, then they could have a really, really nice rebound. But we definitely did see them take a hit. If you take a look at Caroline Graham Hansen, her card went from 1.7, almost pretty much 1.8 million coins down to 1.55, and she was lower than this. So if you had that card just tradable in your team, well, you kind of got screwed. I'm not going to lie. It's not like it was dangerous to hold these cards during this time of year. We're in a very stable market on Ultimate Team right now, and EA unfortunately just said that it's just not your lucky day and those cards have crashed. But I am expecting a little bit of a rebound, which is why I bought Heung-min Son here for 430k, which is what we just saw him as right now, and Griezmann, who's right now 230,000 coins as well. I'm not going all in on this rebound investment because it is kind of risky, but I do expect a little bit of profit as we go a little bit into today, just because they crashed so hard and so quickly. I can't imagine that these cards have absolutely no value just because they don't have the Finesse Shot Plus. But I admit, yeah, they're kind of in a little bit of a bubble because of how good that Finesse Shot Plus is. But there are definitely some other cards that are in a bubble right now, and those cards are FC Pro Live. This is the definition of a card in a bubble. What we saw with Bruno Guimaraes during Path to Glory last year, where his card went from 900k to 200k in just a few hours, we kind of saw with Karamo already, and it's not the last card we're going to see with these cards. We're seeing huge increases on the prices of these cards to where it really doesn't even make sense for them to be that value, even if they were to get an upgrade. And so I would tread carefully with these cards, sell into the hype, don't hold into their games. We saw what can happen, even though Talvin ended up working out and his card did go back up higher. What we did see, and here's the new plan for making investments in these cards. This Talvin card is a great example of this, because as you can see, we sold right here. That is when we sold Talvin at 65,000 coins. And then he obviously spiked up because he won. His pro player was doing one of the best in the group. He ended up getting like 7 points, got an upgrade, got the 2 play styles, or the play style and alternate position. But after the games were over, he still dropped. Obviously not as much as other cards in the group like Karamo, but that's when we buy. That is what we are trying to do this Monday. So we are going to wait until after the games are over, and whichever cards look like they would do the best after their upgrades, we're going to buy after the panic is happening once the games are over, because we can see how effective it can be out of that day. Going into Tuesday, that card went from that 50,000 coins, peaked at 90, sitting at 77,000 coins, and it's the only card other than Willian, I guess, out of the 5, that is above the price of what they started with. Locatelli ended up getting an upgrade, still went down in price, and then obviously Karamo with no upgrade crashed in price. And you've also got Thunderstruck cards, which are a little similar, but I think that there is a little bit more upside to these cards if they do get an upgrade. Obviously, I think if Manchester United do win a game, I think Varane goes up in price. If Manchester City win later today, there's a midweek match for Manchester City later today, I think that that Bernardo Silva probably goes up in price. And I actually have a few Bernardo Silva on my transfer list. And I'm not sure if I want to hold into that, taking that big of a risk on him. But we'll see when it comes down to it. We've got Hemp, a couple of her on our transfer list that we've got to sell as we get closer to them playing on the weekend. And then that Kim Little card that we have a few of on the transfer list right now. You can kind of say the same for the that being in a bubble for the Thunderstruck cards. But there's definitely some upside, and those are the cards that are fluctuating the most on the market. So it's definitely fun to play with, but we are now in a seller's market. And that means that these prices are very, very high. And as we get further into December, we're going to be playing with fire a little bit. So we will definitely sell these FC Pro Live cards, which we've already sold most of them. We're going to sell these Thunderstrucks this week. It's just about what do we put those coins back into. And in my opinion, the safest thing right now, and it's not going to be a jackpot scenario, but it definitely is going to bring profit. It's probably going to be Team of the Week cards that are going out of packs right now, such as Alejandro Garnacho or Theo Hernandez, maybe even Alexander-Arnold. I actually don't advocate for Trent Alexander-Arnold's in form. I would go with some of the other ones in this current Team of the Week. I'll explain why a little bit later in the video. Or Caroline Graham-Hansen, especially considering if Caroline Graham-Hansen, that Finesse Shot Plus ends up getting nerfed, then maybe people would turn to the Trickster Caroline Graham-Hansen inform card. So it really depends on that Finesse Shot Plus. If it got nerfed hard or not, that inform card could do really, really well out of packs. Of course, you've also got Dybala up there if a little bit of focus gets shifted into the Serie A. But those are the only cards I'd probably invest in from this Team of the Week because most of the other ones are fodder price. And we tried trading with Berardi earlier this year, and we lost coins. So we're just not going to touch Berardi for the rest of the year. That's kind of my rule. You burn me once, you know, shame on you. You burn me twice, shame on me. We're just not even going to give Berardi that opportunity. But I've picked up a couple of Theo Hernandez. I picked up a Garnacho. I might pick up some more Garnacho as we get a little bit later in the day. Of course, the supply gets cut off at 6 p.m. UK time today, but it is really, really late at night right now, so most prices are a little bit inflated. But we got one for $265 for Hernandez, $44 for Garnacho. You're not looking at a lot of risk. There's not a huge upside, but I definitely do see a card like Theo Hernandez creeping up towards 300K. I see a card like Alejandro Garnacho hitting 50,000 coins. So I really don't think there's a lot of risk. And when we made our investments in the best of Team of the Week, that's only brought good things because this Dembele, along with a lot of other cards like Van Dijk and Valverde, maybe not so much Valverde as he ended up getting a little bit screwed by content, but Dembele's up to 285 now. I mean, he just keeps on going. Every single time I check that card, he seems to be up another 5,000 coins. So it's awesome for Dembele. We have a couple of him. So these inform cards are definitely the safest investments that we've made on the game because even though we're looking at huge upside on these Thunderstruck cards, if they end up losing their matches and you hold the cards to them, you're looking at a big loss on those cards, depending on how the pro players or the teams like Manchester City end up doing. So I recommend just not taking that risk at all. Now, what we might see from people's teams is people going and taking the players that have Finesse Shot Plus, especially the tradable ones, and replacing them with players who have other overpowered playstyle plus that aren't the Finesse Plus, like Power Shot Plus, Whipped Cross Plus, or Travella Plus, like this Luka Modric. Now, my entire team obviously is untradeable, so obviously I can't sell any of these cards, but I would expect a card like Luka Modric to go up in price and actually benefit from this change. So Finesse Shot Plus players might be going down, but the Travella Shot Plus, the Power Shot Plus, and other OP playstyles may be going up in price as we go through today and tomorrow. So keep an eye out on the market for players that you might replace in your own squad for Finesse Shot Plus and say, okay, that's probably a good investment in mass on my transfer list. I could buy 10 of them and actually probably make some profit as they go up in price when people replace them in their squad. But one thing that people can't replace as much is untradables. Of course, if you've got a, Salah, player of the month, or a Griezmann, player of the month, or a Dalglish, icon, SBC, well, you've already committed a lot of coins and a lot of SBC fodder to commit it. And this Griezmann, I'll just use as an example. He is like 600K to complete, and that's pretty expensive for a card like this. And that was because he had the Finesse Shot Plus, right? EA knew that this was a very, very desirable playstyle in the game, and everybody loved Griezmann from the beginning because of it, and now this player of the month is going to be expensive because of it. So EA made this expensive, but they obviously knew that they were going to nerf it. So they just absolutely scammed anybody who did this SBC, or the Dalglish SBC, or the Salah SBC, or the Sun Player of the Month SBC. All of those SBCs that come out, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And I am so glad that I didn't end up doing these, because I was very, very close to doing Kenny Dalglish during Black Friday. I was very, very close to doing it. And the only reason I would have done it is because of that Finesse Shot Plus. If they nerf that, and it actually does get nerfed as much as people are expecting, even though they only said slightly nerfed, it definitely takes a lot of value out of SBC cards like that. So let me know down in the comments if you guys have any SBC cards that have Finesse Shot Plus and are getting screwed by this new update. This Adama Traore SBC we've known about for the last 2 days. We talked about it in yesterday's episode, but we have some more information on it now. He's going to be a right wing back, and he's going to have the Quick Step Playstyle Plus along with Flare and Rapid Playstyles. And that card, being a right wing back, is probably going to come with a right back as well. It might come with an alternate position of right wing, but with that having such low defense predicted, these are predicted stats, we'll see what position he's going to be best at. But if this card ends up being good value, we know a lot of the community is going to do that, because it's going to probably be the fastest card in the game. I mean, he's going to be absolutely rapid, and he's going to come with some physicality as well. But we're going to see cards like Kyle Walker, or even right wings from this league, Premier League, drop in price. This Kyle Walker's held on to his value a lot longer than other 84s has. He's just too low rated to hold on to value for too long, but he's still 12K. He's actually risen in the last 24 hours. I don't think it's going to stay up here at 12.5K. I think we are due for this card to go under 10K once this SBC drops. So if you have cards tradable like this, it's time to sell him off. And that's why I mentioned how Trent Alexander-Arnold's inform might not be as safe as we thought, because if this card is actually a good right back, then people will use it instead of any other right backs in the Prem. Maybe Tariq Lamptey's inform from Team of the Week 1 could also be at risk. But right wings as well. Salah's already been hitting price. If this card ends up being spectacular, we know the Finesse Shot Plus got nerfed. This Adama Traore can be that new right wing for a lot of people in their Premier League squads. So we're expecting that to come out. We could also expect the cards that link to it to rise in price. Players such as Thiago could actually go up in price, because he is a triple threat card that links very, very well to him being a Spaniard from the Premier League. Now, he's already been slowly rising since the end of the Black Friday promo, which is why I think he's rather safe, because he's already on an upward climb right now, and this card could get a great link to that Adama Traore. Now, we've seen a little bit of a rise in the last 2 days. I would try to get for 46 or under right now. Obviously, I record these pretty late at night, so most cards are inflated in price, and by the time you watch the video, they'll probably come back down a little bit, especially if you have those notifications on, which I suggest you hit those right now if you haven't yet. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did,